I'm a big fan of my first guest. Very funny actor, writer, and comedian. You can currently see him starring with Sir Anthony Hopkins and Judi Dench in Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo, which is playing at a theater near you right now. He'll also be performing in Atlantic City, the Borgata, on September 10th, and in Connecticut, the Mohegan Sun. He's hitting all the casinos. From the 14th through the 17th, please welcome the lovely Norm Macdonald, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm happy.
Yeah.
How you doing? I got a bushy mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm happy.
You like it? Yeah?
Yeah, I got it for a motion picture, you know?
Yeah.
And I haven't got the motion picture yet, but I know that motion picture, like, producers and directors are always looking for a dude with a bushy mustache.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, it's a little career move.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mentioned it.
How manly does that look?
It does look manly. It does. It's very manly. You don't see any women with those. Well, not in this country, but yeah. So it would be manly.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned that you were starring with Sir Anthony Hopkins and Judi Dench.
Yeah.
Nobody got it. In Deuce Bigalow.
Yeah.
You shot that where? In Amsterdam?
Oh, Amsterdam, yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, man, I was so excited to go to Amsterdam because my dad served in WW2, the big one, you know?
Right.
And he liberated the joint.
Really?
Yeah, from the grip of Hitler's icy hand.
Right.
And so I was happy to go back, you know. And oh my God, I don't know if you've ever been there, but man, my dad would be spinning in his grave if he ever saw what was going on there now. Just a den of filth.
Wow.
They got like prostitutes that you can go and for free, not free, but it's legal.
Yeah.
They allow you to go to prostitutes, and then drugs. Everyone's doing legal drugs,
right.
And that's not Mike. I don't cotton to that.
You don't cotton to that, no.
Nah, man. You know, I'm from the time. Let me tell you something, Jen. I'm from the time. I remember when pot was something you cooked your eggs in.
Yes.
I remember when hash was something you were made out of corned beef.
Yes. Exactly.
I remember when acid was something you threw in a guy's face when he made a pass at your wife.
Right. Exactly. Where are those days? Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember ecstasy when it was just the feeling you had when you threw that vile acid in the guy's face.
Yeah. So these prostitutes are everywhere.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah.
It's.
Did you talk to any of them?
No, man. I'm uncomfortable with ladies as it is, let alone ladies they're willing to have sex with me.
Yeah. See, you would not want to date any woman that'd be willing to have sex with you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're not.
That's not your kind of woman.
They're not really willing, you know, because you have to pay them. You have to pay them cash.
Right.
And then
they don't take credit cards or anything.
I don't know. I didn't go looking.
But the way you said it, they said cash, like you were pissed they wouldn't take your card.
No. I'm against prostitution.
Oh, you're against it?
Because I think it's the one thing that you should not sell is love.
Oh. Now I have to applaud. And it is love. You are in love when you go to a prostitute. Suppose you really love the prostitute. Suppose you love the prostitute. Is that okay then?
Well, then there would be no transaction.
Yeah, there would be no transaction. Now, I heard you got arrested.
Well, I didn't get arrested.
Was it because of love?
No, this is what happened. I was on the set.
Yeah.
Like the movie set.
The movie set.
Like this, that means for people that aren't familiar with it, that's where you do the movie.
Right.
So I was on the movie set,
right.
So I'm going home to, not home, but to the hotel, right? It's the middle of the night, and I don't know where I'm going, and it's, Holland, and so I'm walking.
It's dark.
It's dark,
yeah.
And I'm walking, and there's some people around, and I'm asking them, but they're all foreigners, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to get, finally I see my hotel, it takes me forever, but the stoplight was red, right? So I had to stop, So I'm waiting, and you ever been where it never changes?
Yeah.
So I'm standing there like forever, and then the light never turns green or anything. And I'm like, what the deuce, you know?
Yeah.
And
So you were pretty mad to say what to do.
Yeah. Well, the deuce is the devil.
Yeah, the devil. Yeah.
I didn't want to.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I said, what the devil is going on here, you know? And so finally I said, this is crazy. There's no cars coming by or anything like that. So I go, all right, I'll just, you know, walk across the red light and get to my hotel, right? So I walk across the red light. Just at that moment, a policeman comes in a bicycle, right? And so he stops on his bicycle, and he's like, you can't cross red lights, you know, in this crazy accent. That's not the accent, but I can't do it.
It's just a crazy way they talk over there.
Yeah, you can't, you know, do that to cross the light. And I'm going, what are you guys? Are you crazy? I'm like, your whole city's a bunch of drug-addicted whore people, you know?
This is why Americans are so loved around the world. But all right, go ahead.
All of a sudden, I'm the criminal.
Yeah.
And then I remind him, I said, if it wasn't for my dad, you wouldn't have the freedom to...
I tell you what.
If my dad hadn't liberated that country, that guy wouldn't be riding around his fruity bicycle. I'll tell you that. He'd be wearing a little Hitler mustache, and, you know, not a big, super cool, bushy one like mine.
Yeah. And look, we'll take a break. More wisdom from Norm right after this. All right, talking with Norm Macdonald. Okay, so you're in Amsterdam. How was the flight back? I imagine you were anxious to get home after being.
Yeah, I was, man. I was happy to go back
Yeah.
because you know, I don't live over there, and I like being home. And that didn't make any sense. But I thought I was going to be in big trouble at the airport because in the movie, like, they had me like with jet black hair, and they made me grow a beard. I grew a big beard, and then they painted it like jet black.
Yeah.
So my whole face had the demeanor of a vicious terrorist.
Let's see, we have a photo. Where's the photo? Okay, all right. That's you flying back?
Yeah. So I look like one of those guys from those Saddam playing cards, you know?
Yeah.
What they used to have? I got one of those. You ever try to play poker with those things?
No, there you go.
It's really weird. You're like, yeah, I got a straight to Chemical Ali. The other guy goes, read 'em and weep. Uday's full of kusays.
Not quite the same, yeah. So what happened? Could you get on the plane?
That was just a joke.
I got you.
So I'm like, holy God, I'm frightened because I look like a crazy terrorist, right? So I go, I know they're going to do stuff to me and everything. So I get there, and first thing I see, a dude with a giant turban, right? Biggest turban I've ever seen, way bigger than his hair could possibly be, right? And he gets right through, right? And so I'm like, whoa, right? And meanwhile, everybody's taking their shoes off and everything, right? And I'm like, hey, buddy, what about that dude with the giant turban? He's like, oh, no, he's barefoot.
Flying.
The guy had no shoes, right? So they let him go. Right, go. And I'm like, well, shouldn't you maybe listen and see if it's ticking, the turban or something? You know? But now, you know, having shoes is real suspicious now.
Yeah, that's a sign of suspicious
You're a
activity.
suspicious character if you wear shoes. So I go there, I take out my shoes, but meanwhile, I'm like this insane-looking, terrorist-looking guy, right? So the guy looks at my shoes, he goes, yeah, go ahead. So then I became alarmed again, right? I'm like, you sure? Really?
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, you don't want to look at my ass or anything like that? Because not that I want a custom guys looking at my ass, but I wouldn't want a guy looking at me, looking like me, that a custom guy wouldn't be looking at his ass.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, I was torn.
Torn, yeah. I can see how you...
So, but anyway, I came up with an ingenious theory. Not a theory, an ingenious proposal,
right,
if you will.
All right.
I never said if you will before in my life.
Really? Well, you know, you did it well.
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, you did it well.
I don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I even forgot what you said, but go ahead. Yeah.
So I says so I think in my head, I go, this was later, I thought, you know, it would be a great thing. This would work, I think, perfectly and solve all our security problems. you go through the thing, and then they take everybody, every single person, and they take them back, and they look in their ass, right? But you don't get just a custom guys, because that's a little unsettling, right? What you get is an ass doctor, right? So the idea would be, you see, you'd leave the baggage thing, you go into it, and there's an ass doctor, right? Now, if you got contraband in there, if you got drugs, if you got plastic explosives, straight off to the hoosegow.
Right, that's what you mean, yeah.
And but if you don't, the guy checks up your ass, gives you a healthy bill of health, and away you go.
There you go. That's a very ingenious theory. Let me ask you about some of your pet peeves. I know. Whenever we talk, you always have a pet peeve.
What's my beef? Is that what you're asking?
Kind of like my old bit, but you turned it around a little bit. Yeah.
No, well, what is it? I don't know. Is it on that paper?
It was dumb people with opinions.
Oh, no, it was celebrities with opinions.
Oh,
because
celebrities.
I'm a celebrity. You know that. You can attest to that. I find I have to remind people more and more I'm a celebrity.
Well, you're a celebrity on the show in August.
Yeah.
See, that's different than a celebrity on the show like during Sweet.
I got you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now mine's not very funny.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so, but they have opinions, the celebrities, you know, they have opinions, and I don't have any opinions. I can't think of one. I was on the show once, man, the Bill Maher
Bill Maher show. Sure.
So you go out there, and the guy asks you questions, right? And he has 4 subjects, and you're supposed to have opinions on all of them, you know? And I have opinions like everybody has, like a mustache makes you look super cool, whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
But I don't know stuff, you know. So anyways, the subject was there was a guy sitting beside me on the panel. Yeah. This guy wrote a book on China, right? And then there's me. I'm like a nightclub comic, right? I'm sitting there. So Bill Maher, another nightclub comic, he says to me, he says, "Hey, China and Taiwan, Chiang Kai-shek," all these words, I don't know what they mean. He says, "Let's talk about that. Why don't we start with you, Norm?" Right? So I'm like, well, this guy next to me wrote a book on the damn thing.
There you go. Norm Macdonald. Norm, thank you very much, buddy. We'll see you in Atlantic City and in Connecticut. Be right back with Ashley Simpson right after this.